And welcome back to Pewter Power. He's Joe Bell. I'm Mike Deem. And we are ready to go. Falcons. Buccaneers win 16-13. Great game.
Now, last year, Tampa Bay goes to Atlanta, loses on like the second to last play of the game on a 4th and 1 at the 1. The second game, they come to Tampa, and Tampa gives up a 10-point lead. So this year we were like, oh no, we got to lead at the beginning. You almost are scared to be ahead at the beginning when you're the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Or
we're used to coming back in the fourth quarter, whereas we're having a lead now. But that changed the whole complexity of the game too. And Coach Morris did talk about that a little bit, you know. And that's what we want to say is 16-13. You know, the Bucs were leading. They actually scored in the first quarter. They didn't beat the record like you mentioned last week.
But they did score.
Still 57 straight games without scoring above 7 points. But the point I'm getting at is that they scored. We had a chance early to go ahead, and we did go ahead. And then we came into the second half, and we started picking it on. Now, Coach Morris, there's a soundbite right here. We're going to use this real quick in his press conference. A soundbite.
This isn't my soundbite.
No, it's not your soundbite.
Okay, mine's not coming up yet.
Soundbite's later on. But here's Coach Morris talking about the game right after the game. Basically, has to win.
You know, good game, good, well-fought game. Some things to clean up, obviously. We got to be able to score in the red zone and make those games a little bit easier. But other than that, man, I'm proud of how the football team played. I'm proud that they went out there and competed, heavyweight bout. And we came out victorious today, which we haven't been doing.
Atlanta's been a team that's been able to come back in the fourth quarter. This time you hold them off. Is that closing the gap with these guys?
That's what we do, too. You know, we win in the fourth quarter. We finished strong. We have been finishing strong since we've been here. Freeze, I believe, has 8 comebacks. Unfortunately, today he didn't have to come back. He's had to maintain a productive offense, keep them off the field, and give us an opportunity to win. That's what the quarterback did today. He found a way to win without playing great football. And that's kind of how you got to win games in the National Football League.
That was very good.
And that was Coach Raheem Morris basically talking about the game and giving his aspect of what he thought was going on. And I agree with him all over. I mean, we came out. We started better than we normally did. Let me put it that way, okay? We started more, but
Josh Freeman, still not what I expected, but we'll talk about him in a minute. I'm going to throw a couple stats out. I don't want to be stat heavy because it's not really a stat heavy show. But real quick, 2 or 3 stats that really matter to me. Tampa held Atlanta to 30 yards rushing. 20 yards for Michael Turner, one of the best running backs in the league. That was amazing.
Which was one of your keys of the game last week.
One of my main keys was not to allow him big plays. I never would have expected he would have that few rushing yards. They also held time of possession, 35.5 minutes to 24 minutes. So that's a huge thing for Tampa Bay to have done, and we talked about that too. Hold on to the ball, keep Atlanta off the field, even though Atlanta did have almost 300 yards passing.
Yeah, but I think the game plan worked out well. They were wanting to make sure that Turner didn't have a good game, which is exactly what you said. Roddy White, what are you going to do? I mean, Gonzalez, what are you going to do? Julio Jones, what are you going to do?
Well, I only had one player on the whole day that I thought really didn't play very well.
And you're going to hit the Biggers?
E.J. Biggers. He's the corner from Tampa. Now, you have to take that he was put on Roddy White because Julio Jones, Talib had Julio Jones because they were more worried about his speed. But you know, what do? He got burnt. I mean, I don't even remember what I wrote down. Julio Jones had 115 yards and Roddy White had 140.
Yeah.
It just seemed like every time they needed a long pass, they got it. And that's outside of the 20s.
Yeah.
Which again is part of our discussion.
But overall, defensively, way better than ever. I mean, much better than we've ever seen.
1,000 times
Defensive
better.
Line. Unbelievable. Yeah. Claiborne sack, okay, the Claiborne sack. We got a picture of the Claiborne sack, which is a great picture coming up. It's actually one of the key moments of the game, I thought, was in the first half, was when he made that sack and caused a fumble. I mean, Matt Ryan's right there. I mean,
that was his first sack of his career.
Yes.
And his first fumble. And Brian Price had a huge game at defensive tackle, and he had his first sack of his career during this game.
And I think everybody up front, I mean, interchanging those guys, making it work, it just made for a big difference because they could, once we also got the lead, they could just pin their ears back and go for them. You know, before we have in the last couple of games, we haven't had that chance.
Right, we've been staying back trying to make sure they didn't score a touchdown on us.
Right.
You know, and it was pretty good to see LeGarrette Blount. He had a really good game. He had 94 total yards. I think like 75 of them were rushing. 24 rushing yards in the last drive. Remember the old Mike Allstott days?
Yes.
When he would finish a game, we would get first downs, and they couldn't stop him. We got that again.
And that's what pounding the rock, what Gruden used to say, pound the rock with Allstott. LeGarrette Blount is the same way, 81 yards total. But most of it came in that last drive in the second half and finishing it off like that. I mean, that's something that we haven't seen because we've been so behind. We haven't tried to throw the ball all the time.
And listen, our beleaguered offensive line, I'm actually going to give them some props this week. They actually had a great week. They did not allow a sack, and they gave us the time of possession we needed to keep the ball away from Atlanta's high and potent offense.
Right.
Because that was the whole point of the game, is to keep Atlanta off the field. You know, we got one touchdown on Josh Freeman rushing it in.
Yep.
He threw 2 interceptions. Didn't look good at all during the whole game as far as I'm concerned.
Right.
He managed the game, but he did not play well. He overthrew most of his receivers. He seemed timid. He didn't throw it when he needed to. He held on to the ball too long. Just not what I expected out of him in week 3.
Yeah, he's got 2 interceptions in the red zone right now, 4 total. He had 6 all last year. So you're telling me right now, maybe it's because the pressure's there a little bit more. Maybe there's some things are going on, but Freeman was a little bit off. And again, we talked about it last week. Our leading receiver was Ernest Graham.
Correct.
We have not gotten to the outside yet with these receivers.
And even Mike Williams was not much of a presence in this game at all. Actually, I believe the tight ends were much more used in this game than the wide receivers.
Stalker had one right up the middle on the good drive.
Stalker had 2 good catches. I think he ended up with 35 or 40 yards, but they were nice catches, and he blocked well for LeGarrette Blount on the outside. And again, that was huge for Tampa Bay to be able to hold on to that football and get those first downs late in the game.
Yeah, and speaking of first downs, okay, the key first down that we have, okay, it's 4th and 1, and we have a soundbite from Fox Sports right here. This is from Fox Sports right off there. So take a listen to this real quick. This is their final play. Well, I shouldn't say the final play. That's second to last
Almost
play.
final play of the game.
If they do go, it might be a quarterback sneak. They got it. They got it. That's all they were going to do was try to draw him off sides, and they got him. They had no intentions of running a play.
Offside. Defense. No shot. First down.
Josh Freeman's voice. Did you hear him when he said "hut"? I mean, that pulled him off.
And listen, we only got a second, but on Fox Sports national television, they showed the defensive line coach's words. He mouthed them. That was worse than Chucky's ever done.
That's right.
So we'll be right back. We're going to talk about the Indianapolis Colts. Don't go away. Come right back.
Yep.